Crikey! That was the war cry of a man who changed how we perceive the wild. A man who embodied an unstoppable, raw force of nature, Steve Irwin. He was the whirlwind, the chaos, the brilliant explosion of passion that captivated the globe. But in the grand design of the universe, what happens when an unstoppable force is suddenly, violently, stopped? On September 4, 2006, the world paused. The crocodile hunter was gone, tragically taken in an instant. The global reaction was overwhelming, and many industry voices, fans, and friends quietly believed that his massive mission, his fierce passion, and his impossible dream of conservation would inevitably die with him. The sheer weight of the loss felt too heavy for anything to continue. However, they underestimated the quiet, steel-reinforced strength of the woman who always stood calmly by his side. They didn't account for the enduring spirit of the partner, the wife, the mother, the woman who immediately picked up the fallen torch and vowed that the flame would never be extinguished, Terri Irwin. This is the powerful, deeply human, and often overlooked story of how a widow transformed her profound grief into the singular, unbreakable purpose that now protects her husband's legendary legacy. Terri Irwin was never destined for an ordinary life. Born and raised in Eugene, Oregon, USA, she possessed a powerful combination of business acumen and a deep, innate love for wildlife. She grew up managing her family's robust trucking business while simultaneously establishing and operating a nonprofit wildlife rehabilitation facility called Cougar Country. She was a dedicated conservationist years before she ever traveled to the Southern Hemisphere. Her trajectory shifted forever in 1991 during a simple holiday tour of Australian wildlife facilities. It was there, at a regional park in Queensland, that she first encountered a man, a dazzling, almost chaotic figure in khaki shorts, who was interacting with a massive crocodile with an utterly fearless passion she had never witnessed. That man was Steve Irwin. That bizarre first encounter quickly solidified into a shared destiny. Terri found more than a lover, she found her co-conspirator in a monumental global mission. Their romance defied convention and speed. They married quickly, but their honeymoon wasn't spent on a beach. It was a rugged crocodile trapping and relocation expedition deep in the wild Australian bush. The raw, exhilarating footage they captured during that trip, meant only as personal documentation, became the very first episode of the iconic series, The Crocodile Hunter. Their partnership was unique because it was fundamentally built on an almost spiritual, shared devotion to protecting the planet. While Steve was undoubtedly the face, the captivating, high-energy explosion of charisma, Terri was the essential grounding force, the strategic producer, and the astute businesswoman who managed the empire from behind the camera. Together, they relentlessly expanded the small Queensland reptile and fauna park, transforming it into the modern, world-renowned Australia Zoo. Their shows reached hundreds of millions of people globally. When their children, Bindi and Robert, arrived, they didn't just join a family, they were immediately immersed into the mission. The Irwins were whole, and the conservation dream seemed absolutely limitless. Then, the unthinkable happened. It was a seemingly ordinary day, September 4, 2006. The man who had famously dodged the deadliest animals on Earth, who faced king cobras and great whites with a beaming smile, was instantly killed by a stingray barb during an underwater filming sequence. The shock was immediate, profound, and global. For Terri, the loss was cataclysmic. She hadn't just lost the world's most recognizable wildlife hero, she had lost her best friend, her husband, and her partner in life's greatest purpose. Suddenly, Terri was thrust into an almost impossible position, a single mother to 2 young children, and the sole custodian of a massive, global, multi-million-dollar business that encompassed the zoo, multiple production companies, and the Worldwide Wildlife Warriors Worldwide Foundation. The pressure to simply collapse, sell the assets, and retreat from the relentless public eye to mourn privately was intense and understandable, but the moment the news broke, Terri found a steel within her that only absolute devastation can forge. She immediately recognized that allowing the mission to falter would be the true, final death of Steve's legacy. She instinctively understood that her children needed the zoo, the animals, and the mission just as deeply as they needed her. It was the very structure and ecosystem of their identity. Her decision was clear. She would not shield them from the mission, she would immerse them in it. In the face of devastating personal and public loss, Terri's inherent American grit and focus, her disciplined, organized nature, came to the forefront, merging seamlessly with Australian endurance. She had to teach Bindi and Robert how to grieve, how to live without their hero, and how to champion the animals, all while navigating her own crippling sorrow. She made a vow that day. The family's emotional and successful return to global television with the hit series Crikey. It's the Irwins was the ultimate, living testament to Terri's success in preserving and exponentially growing the family's joint purpose. Today, the frequent trending searches for Terri Irwin are not just about a celebrity figure from the past. They are a public acknowledgement of a family that collectively refused to surrender. The most recent international spotlight has been on her son, Robert Irwin, as he captivated American audiences on Dancing with the Stars. His incredibly emotional dedication dance to his mother was a global moment, a powerful, public tribute acknowledging the immense personal sacrifice and quiet fortitude Terri exhibited to keep her family and the vast legacy intact. This moment was more than entertainment. It was a societal validation of Terri's unwavering strength. Terri herself has been vocal about her personal life, famously stating that she is not looking for a new romance. Her quote, "I've already had my happily ever after," has become an inspiring anthem for many. This simple but profound statement perfectly encapsulates her entire journey. Her time with Steve was complete and perfect, and now her singular focus is to honor that completeness by protecting and growing the incredible life and work they started together. She is now a proud grandma, or Bindi's mom, to Bindi's daughter, Grace Warrior Irwin Powell, ensuring that the legacy is not just carried on by her generation, but is being taught, lived, and embodied by the third generation of Irwins. Terri Irwin stands today as a powerful, vital example that true legacy is not found in fame or fortune, but in the unwavering commitment to a dream, even after the dreamer is devastatingly gone. She proved to the world that the crocodile hunter's legendary roar could only be sustained and amplified by his wife's quiet, yet absolutely unbreakable, lionheart strength. Terri Irwin's deep and inspiring story leaves us with a fundamental, powerful truth: grief is a necessary companion, not an inevitable endpoint. Her life reminds us all that when we suffer the loss of the person, the passion, or the purpose we love most, the most meaningful and authentic way to honor them is not by simply mourning their absence, but by living their passion with fierce, renewed dedication. She took her greatest and most shattering pain and, through sheer force of will, transformed it into the world's most enduring conservation force. Her life provides an undeniable moral: a true warrior never retreats, they only intensify the fight for what they believe in. If Terri Irwin's unwavering courage and this powerful inspirational story resonated with you, and if you share the family's hope for a better world for our animals, then we ask you to join our journey. Please subscribe to the EchoStill channel right now. Hit the like button on this video to help share this message of endurance with more people who need to hear it. And most importantly, please drop a comment below and tell us, which living person do you believe is carrying the greatest legacy today? Your likes, comments, and subscriptions are the fuel that allows us to continue bringing you these powerful, impactful stories of human resilience. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.